Welcome to A Million Dreams radio show, inspired by The Greatest Showman, performed by the Cincinnati Waldorf School 8th grade class. Thank you to those who made our show possible, the class parents, our teachers, and the Cincinnati Waldorf School. Now, ladies and gentlemen, sit back and enjoy our show.
A man, O'Malley, wearing a plain top hat, enters the audience area of the circus. He is making an effort to sell a lottery ticket.
There is one ticket left for a $1,000 raffle. Only $2 for the last ticket.
Sure, I'll buy it.
O'Malley reaches into his hat full of lottery tickets and turns to the man.
You didn't win.
O'Malley turns to the rest of the audience. He cups his hand beside his mouth.
They say there is a fool born every minute.
P.T. Barnum's daughters, Caroline and Helen, enter from the crowd and reprimand O'Malley.
Don't you know that lotteries are now illegal for people to run? And that only the government is allowed to steal money from people that way? Give that person their money back.
The girls force O'Malley to return the money.
Well, if people can't sell false hopes anymore, maybe they can sell temporary joy.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. Been searching in the dark, your sweat soaking through the floor. Buried in your bones is an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that's real is left behind. Don't fight it, it's coming for you, running at you. It's only this moment, don't care what comes after. Your fever dream, can't you see it getting closer? Just surrender cause you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's flooding open. It's the preacher in the pulpit and you'll find devotion. There's something breaking at the break of every wall. It's only knowledge you know. So tell me, do you wanna go where it's covered in all the colored lights, where the runaways are running the night? Impossible comes true, it's taking over you. This is the greatest show. We light it up, we won't come down. And the sun can't stop us now. Watching it come true, it's taking over you. This is the greatest show. Whoa. Colossal, we calm these renegades in the ring. Where the lost get found in the crown of the circus kings. Don't fight it, it's coming for you, running at you. It's only this moment, don't care what comes after. It's blinding, outshining everything that you know. Just surrender cause you're calling and you wanna go where it's covered in all the colored lights, where the runaways are running the night. Impossible comes true, intoxicating you. This is the greatest show. We light it up, we won't come down. And the sun can't stop us now. Watching it come true, it's taking over you. This is the greatest show. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's here in front of you. This is where you wanna be. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's here right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. wanna be, where it's covered in all the colored lights, where the runaways are running the night. Impossible comes true, we're taking over you. This is the greatest show. We light it up, we won't come down, and the sun can't stop us now. Watching it come true, we're taking over you. This is the greatest show. It's covered in all the colored lights, where the runaways are running the night. Impossible comes true, it's taking over you. This is the greatest show. We light it up, we won't come down, and the walls can't stop us now. Watching it come true, it's taking over you. This is the greatest show. 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 This is the greatest show.
Years before Barnum Circus was created, young Phineas Barnum was raised by his father Filio, who sold fabric for a living. Filio's running to get to an appointment, dragging Phineas behind him.
Let's go. Phineas, hurry up. We're going to miss our appointment.
Coming, Father.
They arrive at the house of their customer, Mr. Hallett.
Stand up straight. Wipe that muck off. Keep up.
How may I help you, sir?
Mr. Hallett is expecting me.
Please, come inside. Wait here. I must return to my words lesson.
Filio and Phineas come inside. The maid returns to teaching Charity, Mr. Hallett's daughter, how to drink tea while Filio conducts business with Mr. Hallett.
Arm extended, elbow out, sip, never slip. Begin here. Arm extended, elbow out. Keep your cup level. Lower your cup.
Young Phineas mimics the maid, making Charity laugh. The maid looks disapprovingly at Charity and glares at Phineas.
Shall we do it again? Arm extended, elbow out, gracefully.
Phineas mimics the maid again. Charity giggled so much that the tea spilled on her dress.
Charity, come here. Your dress, it is a mess. Is this how we've taught you to behave?
It's my fault, sir. I made her laugh.
Well, thank you for your honesty. Stay away from my daughter.
Filio and Phineas are rudely pushed out of the Hallett home. Later that night, Phineas sneaks back to the Hallett's home and stands outside looking up at Charity's window. Suddenly, Charity appears behind him.
How did you get out?
The window. Father is sending me to finishing school. I don't know what my future will be.
I do.
Close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say, oh, sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. Well, I'm living in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. See, a million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
Charity's father steps out into the porch to call her inside.
Charity!
Charity turns to her father while holding Phineas's hand. She begins to pull away to go to her father. She listens to Phineas for a moment longer and then pulls away. Phineas walks toward home, and when he arrives, he finds his father collapsed on the ground.
Father!
Filio Barnum has passed away. Phineas closes his father's eyes and whispers goodbye. Phineas is now an orphan and has no home. He wanders the streets and he sits against the wall, looking downcast while rubbing his hungry belly. Suddenly, a hooded young woman with a scar across her eye and face approaches him and hands him a piece of bread and a note from Charity. He looks at the woman and smiles with wonderment and then reads the message with a smile.
They can say, it all sounds crazy. They can say, I've lost my mind. Run away to the world that we design.
Young Phineas finds a top hat. He tries it on, then transforms into grown-up Phineas Barnum. He walks into the street and listens to an announcer.
Come join the Great American Railroad. 3 meals a day, a roof over your head, fair and ample wages. Come make your fortune. See the open plains of America. Opportunity awaits you, sir, out on the rails.
Barnum shakes the hand of the announcer. Barnum works for the Great American Railroad for a few years to make money. After some time, he counts the money and then walks to Charity's home. Mr. Hallett meets him on the porch.
Sir, I know I don't come from much, but I will take care of your daughter, and I will give her a life just as grand as this one.
Charity quickly grabs her suitcase and grabs Barnum's hand to pull him along, away from her childhood home.
Goodbye, Mother.
Goodbye, dear. I love you.
Mr. Hallett yells to Barnum as he leaves with Charity.
She will be back sooner or later. She will get tired of your life of having nothing, and she will keep running back home.
Barnum and Charity are so happy to finally be together.
As every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head.
A million dreams are keeping me awake.
A million dreams, a million dreams. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take.
A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
8 years pass. Barnum is at work in the office, trying to get his employer's attention.
Mr. Smith,
Yeah.
Have a look at this. Here.
Yes, I see it.
The man hands Mr. Smith a piece of paper.
Thank you, Palmer. That will do.
Barnum continues to try to gain Mr. Smith's attention.
sir, if I may, sir, I believe I have skills and ideas that go well beyond counting numbers into an adding machine. I've read about this German fellow, Lilienthal. I believe he's developed a glider that can take a man in the air. Sir, isn't that amazing?
Mr. Smith can't look at him. He just keeps walking and ignoring Barnum.
I mean, if you're to apply that to this business, it'd be revolutionary.
Mr. Smith addresses all the workers at the office.
Gentlemen, can I have your attention? You're all dismissed. We are bankrupt.
Bankrupt? I thought the company had a dozen trading ships.
Yes, at the bottom of the South China Seas. A typhoon sank them all.
Barnum packs up his desk and then heads home. He arrives at his home.
Oh God, you are home early.
and until further notice.
Oh, I didn't think you were long for that job.
Or any job, apparently.
That's what makes our life together so exciting.
Charity, this isn't the life I promised you.
But I have everything I want.
What about the magic?
What do you call those two girls? Hey, partners, look who...
Daddy!
Come here.
Did you bring a present?
Present for what?
For my birthday.
Your what?
My birthday.
It's not your birthday.
Caroline was really sad.
Okay, I do have a present, but not just any present. Oh no, the most amazing birthday present ever. This extraordinary machine was originally created by Leonardo da Vinci 400 years ago. But the blueprints have been lost for centuries, until just last week on a stormy night when a sunken pirate ship washed up on the shores of Nantucket. They found skeletons and treasures, and the blueprints were recovered by none other than J.W. Mercantile. The blueprints crossed my desk very briefly, but I managed to commit them to memory. If I had remembered correctly...
Happy birthday, Caroline.
This is a wishing machine. You tell it your wishes, and it keeps them safe until they come true. Even if you forget them, they're always there.
Can I tell a wish?
Step right up. Go ahead.
I wish to marry Santa Claus.
That is a good wish.
I wish for ballet slippers.
Hey, that's a good wish too. What is your wish, Mommy?
I wish for happiness like this forever. For you, and for your father.
Boring.
Boring? Since when is happiness ever boring?
Barnum walks the girls to their room and tucks them into bed.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, the vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take.
Million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
Barnum and Charity are walking with their daughters when Barnum finds a coin on the ground. He picks up the large gold coin.
Thank my lucky stars.
He rubs the coin between his finger and his thumb.
I promise you, Charity, I will get you a fortune and a fancy house.
All that matters is that we are together. The greatest riches come from being with people we love.
Yes, of course. I'll meet you at home this afternoon. I have a very important meeting to go to.
They walk separate ways. Barnum walks to a bank and sits in the chair next to other customers waiting to speak to the banker. While Barnum is sitting waiting, he notices Charles, a dwarf, sitting near him. A woman dressed in a business suit comes out of the banker's office and turns towards Charles.
Charles, we're leaving.
Huh?
This bank only wants to lend money to people with money.
Barnum stares at Charles with excitement as he formulates a new business idea.
What are you looking at, Flopdoodle?
Barnum realizes he is staring at Charles when he hears the banker call his name.
Mr. Barnum, come in and sit down. This venture you propose is risky and somewhat bizarre.
It's a good bet, it's what it is. Sir, people don't want to admit it, but they are fascinated with the exotic and the...
This is why we stare at those that are different. The bank is going to need substantial collateral.
Of course, I would not suggest otherwise.
Barnum hands a piece of paper to the banker.
The deed entitled to my entire fleet of trading vessels.
The banker looks at the paper, then shakes Barnum's hand.
We have a deal.
Barnum goes home with an extra spring in his step. He tells Charity that he received a loan from the bank.
Why would a bank loan us $10,000?
Because we put up collateral.
We don't have any collateral.
Sure we do, in the South China Seas.
In the South China Seas?
Deep in the South China Seas.
And what did we buy with this loan?
Barnum's American Museum of Curiosity.
What kind of museum is it?
A place to be transported. A place where people can see things they've never seen before.
Barnum takes the family to the museum. The museum is full of all sorts of strange and exotic items. The girls look around in wonderment.
Wax figures?
Yeah, they're all the rage in Europe. Look, Marie Antoinette with a sore throat. Come here. You see, you've already met some of the most famous folks in history. They're not all wax.
Barnum takes his family to meet a man.
This is the great O'Malley, master of sleight of hand, the king of deception.
You don't look like a magician.
I am a thief.
A very good thief. I caught him taking my watch.
Helen grabs her father's hand and points at a wax elephant.
You see?
An elephant.
Not just any elephant.
And look at that.
The tallest giraffe in the world.
Can I climb up its leg?
Absolutely not.
Now, I know how it looks.
If you didn't, I would be worried.
I mean, it just needs a little work. The loan has to be paid by the end of the month.
Oh yeah? How are we gonna pay?
We just need customers.
Hundreds of them.
We're going to get them.
The next day, Barnum stands in front of his museum and tries to solicit customers. A man approaches.
Welcome to the Barnum Museum. It is 1 hour for your time, sir, but it will change your life. We have shows on the hour, every hour.
The man completely ignores Barnum. A woman approaches.
I love your dress.
Surely not for the faint of heart.
I can tell that you'll love it.
He watches her walk away.
Half the price for anyone who's wearing a hat. Oh, that is you, sir. Welcome to the Barnum Museum. Garbage. Welcome to the Barnum Museum, where everyone...
Barnum turns to O'Malley.
How many tickets?
3.
3?
Barnum looks dejected and heads home. He arrives home just in time to put the girls to bed.
Daddy. Daddy? Did you sell any more tickets today?
A few, yeah. Most of them were rushing home. It's Friday. We sold a few.
I think you have too many dead things in your museum, Daddy.
Do you?
She's right. You need something alive.
Go to sleep, both of you.
Something sensational.
That is a big word.
That's your word. You need something that isn't stuffed. Like a mermaid. Or a unicorn. Unicorns aren't real. Oh, mermaids aren't real either.
Barnum looks as if a light bulb appeared above his head. The next day, Barnum approaches a home. He takes a deep breath before knocking on the door. A woman answers his knock.
You must be Gertrude Stratton.
The woman nods yes.
I am looking for your son.
I don't have a son.
The hospital record says you do. Charles, right? Age 22?
Gertrude allows Barnum to come in, and Charles comes out to see Barnum. Barnum kneels down.
Charles, P.T. Barnum at your service. I'm putting together a show, and I need a star.
You want people to laugh at me.
Well, they're laughing anyway, kid, so might as well get paid.
Barnum notices a toy soldier in Tom Thumb's hands and gets an idea.
Let's see a soldier, no, a general, riding across the stage with a sword and a gun, and the most beautiful uniform ever made. People will come from all over the world, and when they see him, they won't laugh. They will salute.
I will do it.
The next day, Barnum goes with his daughters, and they hold up signs advertising for unique people.
Wanted, unique persons, curiosities.
Daring acts. Wonders of the world.
How's it looking, girls?
A man walks up to Barnum.
Hey, you're looking for freaks? I know where you can find one of them.
Really? Come on, girls.
They follow the man and come to a place where they hear a woman singing with her back toward Barnum.
Hello.
Sir, you can't be here.
I'm sorry, who's doing that singing? It's you, isn't it?
Sir, I'll have to ask you to leave.
The woman turns around, and you can see her face has a large scar running down it. She is the woman that fed him on the streets as a child.
Extraordinary, unique, I would even say beautiful.
Sir, please, leave me alone.
They don't understand it, but they will. Meet me at Barnum Museum in 2 days.
Okay, I'll come.
The next day, Barnum is sitting at a desk with a sign hanging that says, "We'll pay for people with unique abilities." There is a line of people on the bench waiting to be called forward.
Okay, Hazel and George Wheeler. Brother and sister?
Yes, sir.
Terrific. And what do you do?
We dance.
Entertaining. Okay.
You know, people aren't gonna like it if you put us on the stage.
Oh, I am counting on it. Next.
I have a lot of birthmarks that look like tattoos.
Fantastic. I like it. Very shocking. Next.
Just because I look like a dog doesn't mean I should be treated rough.
Everyone loves a good groaner. Next.
I am strong. I can pick up 600 pounds without trouble.
The man squats down and picks up 600 pounds without much effort.
Wow. How can I say no? You're in. We have a show, which is good, but I need it 5 times bigger, and I want it everywhere. Carriages, sides of trains, trolleys, crates, milk bottles, everywhere they look. Barnum's American Museum.
You stumble through your days, got your head hung low. Your skies are a shade of gray, like a zombie in a maze. You're asleep inside, but you can't shake awake, 'cause just a dead man walking, thinking that's your only option. You can flick the switch and brighten up your darkest days. Sun is up and the colors blinding. Take a world and redefine it. You find your narrow mind, you'll never be the same. Come alive, come alive. Go and light your light, let it burn so bright. Reaching up to the sky, and it's open wide, you're electrified. And the world becomes a fantasy, and you're more than you could ever be, 'cause you're dreaming with your eyes wide open. And you know you can't go back again to the world that you were living in, 'cause dreaming with your eyes wide open. You come alive. I see it in your eyes. You believe that lie, that you need to hide your face, afraid to step outside. So you lock the door, but don't you stay that way.
We're living in the shadows, you and me, we know how that goes. Once you see it go, you'll never, never be the same. A little bit of lightning striking, bubble glass to keep on shining. You can prove this more to you, you cannot be afraid.
Come alive, come alive. Go and light your light, let it burn so bright. Reaching up to the sky, and it's open wide, you're electrified. The world becomes your fantasy, you're more than you could ever be, 'cause you're dreaming with your eyes wide open. And you know we can't go back again to the world that we were living in, 'cause you're dreaming with your eyes wide open. So come alive. Come on, come on, come in, come on.
To anyone who's bursting with a dream,
Come on, you hear the call. It's anyone who's searching for ways to break free.
the world becomes a fantasy, more than you could ever be. Just dreaming with your eyes wide open. You know we can't go back again to the world that we were living in, 'cause you're dreaming with your eyes wide open.
So come alive.
Becomes a fantasy, more than you could ever be, 'cause you're dreaming
first show comes to an end. The crowd is amazed. Among the audience is the newspaper critic, Mr. Bennett, who's taking notes on the show. At the end of the show, the crowd goes wild.
Bravo.
That was amazing.
Superb. Fantastic.
Several days later, Barnum is outside the Barnum Museum with Charity, his daughters, and the characters from the show. Charity is reading newspaper headlines out loud to all of them.
This is bad. The Barnum Museum, a primitive circus of humbug, criminal, greedy, a circus.
I like circus.
Suddenly, two unpleasant men approach Barnum.
That's right, boy. You're gonna protect the scarred lady?
Hey, that's enough. Inside of all of you, right now.
Everyone except Barnum turns to run inside the Barnum Museum.
Look at them run.
We don't want your kind here. Get out of here.
That's right. You and your freaks. Your master's calling.
Barnum stands in front of the entrance, blocking the way.
That's quite enough, sir. Nothing more to look at.
Two men leave. Barnum turns to O'Malley with the newspaper in his hand.
O'Malley?
At your service.
You print this review in every paper in New York. Also, advertise half-price tickets to anyone with the paper.
The show is about to begin. O'Malley holds up a sign in the front of Barnum Museum that says, "Sold out." Crowds are walking into the show. Barnum's daughters are walking around, selling peanuts.
Peanuts. Get your peanuts here. Hot salted peanuts.
I'll take one.
At the side of the circus stage, O'Malley brings Mr. Bennett to talk to Barnum.
Ah, Mr. Bennett from the Herald. Come to take in another show, huh?
Tell me, Mr. Barnum, does it bother you that everything you're selling here is fake?
Do these smiles seem fake? It doesn't matter where they come from. The joy is real.
So you're a philanthropist?
Well, hyperbole isn't the worst crime. Men suffer more from imagining too little than too much. The creed of a true fraud. Mr. Bennett, when was the last time you smiled? Or had a good laugh? A real laugh? Theater critic who can't find joy in the theater. Now who is the fraud? Oh, Mr. Bennett, the word you used to describe my show has a nice ring to it. P.T. Barnum's Circus.
Barnum leads his wife blindfolded with the help of his two daughters. He leads her to their new home.
This way.
Don't you think there is enough blind trust in my life?
Well, isn't that what makes it fun? Keep coming. Okay, are you ready?
Is it a new home for us?
It is, come on.
Let's go.
Helen, that's for you.
Barnum points to a new dollhouse on the steps. Then he hands Caroline a pair of ballet slippers.
And Caroline, this is for you. There is a ballet school right down the street, just past your grandparents' house.
Don't tell me you bought this house just to rub my parents' noses in your success.
That was not the only reason. This is the life I promised you.
Barnum reaches out for her to dance.
Shall we?
Finn, it's beautiful, but we don't need all this.
It took me 25 years, but welcome home, Charity Barnum.
Barnum and Charity dance around the new house while Caroline tries on her ballet shoes and Helen plays with a dollhouse. There are clusters of people gathered in a theater's entryway after attending a ballet event. Barnum notices a man who has many people gathered around him. Barnum asks his wife who the man is.
Hey, sweetie, who's that young man over there?
That is James Bailey. A bit of a scandal, they say. His last play was a hit in London.
Play? They pay good money to watch people stand around and talk for 2 hours. And they call me a con man?
At that moment, little ballerinas come out to see their parents. While they come out, two talk rudely about Caroline, and she overhears them.
Ew, what's that smell? Do you smell that?
Ew, something does smell.
I know what it is. Peanuts.
Caroline looks saddened. Later that evening, Barnum holds Caroline's hand and gestures with his free hand in the air.
I can see it right now. Youngest prima ballerina in the history of the City Ballet.
I'm quitting.
What? Why would you quit?
I started too late. I'll never catch up.
Caroline, you were the best dancer on that stage. What? Do you think I can't spot talent?
Ballet takes years of hard work. It's not like the circus. You can't just fake it.
Barnum looks distraught, but kisses her on the head and wishes her sweet dreams. Barnum finds Charity so he can discuss Caroline.
She can't quit. No, I mean she doesn't. She just feels out of place with the other girls.
Well, I should certainly hope so. I've never seen so many little prima donnas in my life.
Yes, but those prima donnas are the most important thing in the world to her right now. She'll learn to ignore them, just like I did.
She shouldn't have to. New York society will never accept us. If they did, they'd have to stop judging and actually do something with their lives.
This isn't about me.
Oh, so it's different from everything else then?
I just want her to be proud of who she is, of her family.
She is proud. We don't have to be the Baileys.
Charity walks out of the room, leaving Barnum thinking to himself. A week later, James Bailey is leaning on a chair outside the theater. Barnum is walking past and recognizes him. He approaches James Bailey with a playbill in his hand.
Mr. Bailey, you produced this play?
Yes, I did. Refunds are available at the front box office.
Barnum holds his hand out to James to shake.
P.T. Barnum.
From the circus?
Yes, you've been?
Yeah, no, but I've seen the crowds. People leave your show happier than when they came in, which is much more than I can say for my play.
And yet you have no trouble selling tickets.
That's because I'm selling virtue.
Can I buy you a drink?
The two walk together to a pub and sit down at the bar. Barnum begins to speak with Bailey.
I want to present legitimate acts. Expand our appeal. Go after the snobs.
If only you knew how suffocating they are.
So, come join our circus. You clearly have a flair for show business. Teach me how to appeal to the highbrows.
Are you serious? Mr. Barnum, I cannot just run off and join the circus.
Why not? Sounds thrilling, isn't it?
Let's just say that I find it much more comfortable admiring your show from afar. Do you understand that just associating with you could cost me my inheritance?
I thought it would cost you more than that. You'd be risking everything. But on the other hand, well, you might just find yourself a free man.
Right here, right now, I put the offer out. I don't want to chase you down. I know you see it. You run with me, and I can cut you free out of the drudgery and walls you keep in. So trade that typical for something colorful. And if it's crazy, live a little crazy. Or you can play sensible, king of conventional. Or you can risk it all and see. Don't you wanna get away from the same old part you gotta play? 'Cause I got what you need, so come with me and take the ride. I'll take you to the other side, 'cause you can do like you do, or you can do like me. Stay in the cage or you finally take the key. Oh damn, suddenly you're free to fly. I'll take you to the other side. Okay, my friend, you want to cut me in. Well, I hate to tell you, but it just won't happen. So thanks, but no, I think I'm good to go. 'Cause I quite enjoy the life you say I'm trapped in. Now I admire you, and that I'll show you do. You're onto something, really it's something. But I live among the swells and we don't pick up peanut shells. I'll have to leave that up to you. Don't you know that I'm okay with this uptown party? Get to play, 'cause I got what I need. And I don't wanna take the ride. I don't need to see the other side, so go and do like you do. I'm good to do like me, and in a cage, so I don't need to take the key. Oh damn, can't you see I'm doing fine? I don't need to see the other side. Now is this really how you want to spend your days? Whiskey, misery, parties and plays. If I were mixed up with you, I'd be the talk of the town, disgraced and disowned, another one of the clowns. But you would finally live a little, finally laugh a little. Just let me give you the freedom to dream, and it'll wake you up and cure your aching. Take your walls and start 'em breaking. Now that's a deal that seems worth taking, but I guess I'll leave that up to you. Well, it's intriguing, but to go would cost me greatly. So what percentage of the show would I be taking? Fair enough, you want a piece of all the action. I'd give you 7, we could shake and make it happen. I wasn't born this morning, 18 would be just fine. Why not just go ahead and ask for nickels on the dime? 15, I do 8, 12, maybe 9, 10. Don't you wanna get away to a whole new part you're gonna play? 'Cause I got what you need, so come with me and take the ride to the other side. So you can do like I do, or you can do like me. Forget the cage, 'cause we know how to make the key. Damn, suddenly we're free to fly. Going to the other side, to the other side, to the other side, to the other side, going to the other side.
All of the oddities are practicing their individual acts on the circus stage. Barnum comes in with James Bailey to introduce him to the oddities. James notices Hazel and is mesmerized by her dancing.
Who is that?
Barnum doesn't hear Bailey. Instead, he sees O'Malley and speaks to him.
Hey, no one is buying hats back here. Get out front. Go.
Barnum then turns back to Bailey and gestures to Hazel and George.
George, Hazel, I want to introduce you to my newest hire, Mr. James Bailey.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure.
And what is your act, Mr. Bailey?
I don't have an act.
Everyone's got an act.
Mr. Barnum.
Yeah?
You better come see this.
Barnum starts to walk away and notices James and George staring at each other.
James, keep up.
Barnum and O'Malley step out of Barnum Museum and they hear shouting.
Go home.
Hide yourselves.
Shut down this operation.
Bit of nasty element.
There always is, isn't it? Nothing draws a crowd like the crying of a crowd.
Go home, you freaks.
Several days later, Barnum is reading a newspaper out loud to his circus family.
Shame of the city. The protests amend Mr. Barnum's reputation as a previewer of the offensive and indecent.
Offensive and indecent?
Mr. Bennett, I'm blushing.
No, I'm blushing.
What do you care what Bennett thinks?
He's just jealous.
Envious.
And a snob.
Yeah, all the snobs in New York are reading this about me. He does their thinking for them.
Whatever happened to thriving off of controversy?
Yeah, well...
Just then, James Bailey walks into the room with an envelope in his hand.
Look, hey, do you have any thoughts on this?
James hands the envelope to Barnum. Barnum reads it out loud to the circus.
The master of the household has it in the command of the Queen to invite Mr. Phineas Barnum and his theatrical troupe to a reception at Buckingham Palace.
The Queen Victoria? Is this real?
I had to pull a few strings. If you want society to accept you, you may as well start at the very top.
Are we all invited?
I guess I'll just have to tell the Queen either all of us go or none of us will.
The Queen of England can't get much better than that.
Everyone is looking very pleased and smiling. Several weeks later, the circus arrives at Buckingham Palace.
Why aren't we dressed up in fancy attire?
We are the entertainment.
I don't see them in costumes.
Magdalene points towards Barnum and Bailey.
Your Majesty, Mr. Phineas T. Barnum and his oddities from America.
Is that real?
The woman points at the circus members.
Your Majesty, may I present Mr. Barnum?
The honor is mine, Mr. Barnum. I've heard all about your little colonel from my friends in America.
General, ma'am.
You are even smaller than I imagined.
Well, you're not exactly reaching the top shelf yourself, sweetheart.
Everyone takes a deep breath and waits to see how the Queen reacts. She starts to laugh hysterically. After the circus is made comfortable in the Queen's palace, Barnum and Bailey are off to the side talking. Barnum's eyes are darting around the room, paying attention to the people he sees.
Ah, that went well.
Your Majesty, may I introduce Miss Jenny Lind.
Who is that?
She is an opera singer.
Singer, huh?
She is the most famous performer in all of Europe. She has sold out La Scala a dozen times, not to mention the French opera.
Striking.
Barnum starts to walk toward her while pushing Bailey in front of him.
What are you doing?
Following you, so you can introduce me to Miss Lind.
Introduce you?
Yeah.
I don't know her.
Everybody knows her. You just said so yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You don't just walk up to someone right now.
Why not? We are presentable. She is a person.
Miss Lind, my name is James Bailey, and this extraordinary gentleman next to me,
Phineas Taylor Burke. The pleasure is mine.
Of course, you are the American. I believe I might have heard of you.
Oh, well, if you've heard of me all the way over here, I must have been doing something right.
That, or something very wrong.
In the world of publicity, there is hardly any difference.
I believe those are the words of a scoundrel, Mr. Barnum.
A showman, Miss Lind. Just a showman. The best on my side of the Atlantic.
If you just say so yourself.
I do, but I don't have to.
Oh, no. He is one of the best.
Miss Lind, let me get to the point. I'd like to bring you to New York. And if you agree, I will make you the most famous singer, not in Europe, but in the entire world.
And have you heard me sing?
Absolutely. No, but your reputation precedes you. And well, I trust your reputation more than my own taste, so...
I've never been to America.
You'll sing in the grandest theater with the finest orchestra in the greatest city on earth. Jenny Lind, one night only, or maybe two. And at 20% at the gate, it'll be a queen's ransom.
I give most of my earnings to charity, Mr. Barnum, to orphans and widows.
Voice of a nightingale, heart of an angel. That's brilliant. I mean, the press will go crazy with that story.
That's not a story.
May I ask you something, Mr. Barnum?
Anything.
Why should I perform for you?
People come to my show for the pleasure of being hoodwinked. Just for once, I would love to give them something real.
Two months later, Jenny Lind is preparing to sing in New York. Many people have gathered to watch her sing.
Everyone is here. Look at this.
Are you happy?
I will be if this works. Oh God, I hope she can sing. What's taking her so long? Oh, they're still taking their seats.
Speaking of which, Tom and Magdalene and the others, they just arrived.
What?
Where should I put them? Your box?
That box? No, that's pretty visible.
Visible?
Sorry. The acoustics are actually better in the standing room. That's where they should be.
Jenny appears ready to sing.
I'm ready now.
Okay, thank you. Thank God.
At that moment, Charity and her daughters sit down in the front row. They look around and talk. James Bailey goes to sit with Hazel and holds her hand.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes, I love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. I recently had the privilege of hearing the most divine voice I have ever heard. Now, I know that sounds like Barnum humbug, but I have 100 bottles of good champagne on ice that says this is not just another sideshow novelty. May I present the Swedish Nightingale, Miss Jenny Lind.
Trying to hold my breath, let it stay this way. Can't let this moment end. You set off a dream in me, getting louder now. Can you hear it echoing? Take my hand, will you share this with me? 'Cause darling, without you, all the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars we steal from the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Towers of gold are still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough, never be enough for me. Never, never.
After Jenny Lind sings, people gather in small groups in the annex of the theater. Barnum leads Jenny to meet his wife.
Jenny, this is my wife, Charity, and their girls. They're my inspiration and the drive behind all I do.
Of course, and I've heard so much about you. And your father tells me that you are a fan of the ballet.
Yes, I'm studying ballet.
Oh, are you?
Of course I am.
Of course she is.
And what about you, Helen?
You look like a princess, ma'am.
Barnum leaves Miss Lind with his family, and he moves over to talk to the news reporter.
I have to admit, Barnum, she is remarkable.
Enough to bring joy to the most joyless critic, isn't she?
In the hands of a real previewer of the art, she could be something in this country. Shame she's fallen with you.
You really are better on the page.
Mr. and Mrs. Hallett, Charity's parents, interrupt Barnum and Mr. Bennett.
Phineas,
Yes.
you've done well.
Thank you. Allow me to introduce you. Excuse me, Jenny.
Barnum brings Miss Lind over to meet the Halletts.
I would like you to meet Charity's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Hallett.
Ah, pleasure.
How do you do? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Mother.
Hello, dear. Are these your children?
Yes. Those are your granddaughters.
Phineas not here.
Not here? Are you afraid I'm going to embarrass your parents in front of their fancy friends? I really don't think I have that power. An insignificant man like me was clearly destined to lead an insignificant life.
All that fortune and you're still just a tailor's boy.
Get out.
Mr. and Mrs. Hallett depart. Charity is obviously upset with Barnum. Miss Lind tries to change the subject.
Well, Phineas, I believe that I told you that free champagne is a recipe for disaster.
Charity starts to leave with the girls. Barnum is distressed looking, but feels he needs to stay happy looking for the crowd.
Charity.
Charity leaves with their daughters without looking back at her husband. Barnum turns back to his audience.
Now, would everyone please raise their glasses to Mr. Barnum, who showed that once and for all, that a man's station is limited only by his imagination. To Barnum.
Thank you.
It's hard to understand wealth and privileges when you're born into it. I sometimes don't feel like I belong here.
You?
I was born out of wedlock, and that brought shame upon my family. And life always manages to remind me that I don't deserve a place in this world. And that leaves a hole that no ovation can ever fill.
Magdalene and the other circus members appear at the entrance and try to get Barnum's attention. Barnum is embarrassed by their presence.
Mr. Phineas, Lord, that lady can sing.
I know.
Think she likes a man in uniform?
I'm sure she does. What are you doing here? You got a show in an hour, okay?
That's enough time for us to at least have 3 drinks, right? Come on.
No, Magdalene.
What?
It's too crowded in here, okay? And I can't have you mingling. Who's gonna pay admission if you're out there for all the world to see?
Barnum turns away from her and goes back to the crowd.
Have a great show.
Wait.
Barnum shuts the door behind them, then enters back into the room with the rich crowd.
Ladies and gentlemen, a toast. Jenny, America may not know it yet, but they're going to love you. To Miss Lind.
Magdalene and the rest of the oddities look dejected and upset. Magdalene begins to sing.
I'm not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, so we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. But away, they say, still love you as you are. But won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. And the sharpest words when I cut me down. I'm on a sun of flood, I'm gonna try to I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me, look out, cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me, oh, 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 oh. Another round of bullets hits my skin. We'll fire away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We're bursting through the barricades, reaching for the sun. We are warriors, yeah, that's all we yeah, that's what we've become. Won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, forever glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me, look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me, oh, 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 oh. This is me, oh, and I know that I'm so glad. There's nothing when the sharp words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, I'm gonna drown it out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me, oh, the words wanna let me down. Send the flood, gonna drown them out. This is me.
Barnum is impressed by how well Jenny Lind did in her performance. He decides to go on a countrywide tour with Jenny. He is preparing to leave on tour and must prepare James Bailey to be the ringmaster while he is gone.
Why can't you just put more shows on in New York? Why do you need to tour the country?
Why did Napoleon march on Russia?
Napoleon was defeated.
It will all be fine.
You're risking everything you've built here.
How do you think I built it? I put myself out there and took risks. Plus, we have plenty of profits to go around after this.
PT?
What?
Your attention has been divided long enough. Our gate is down. We have more protesters every day.
You just need to get people to come back. If you haven't been to Barnum Museum lately, you have not been to Barnum Museum.
They come to see you, your crazy ideas, your new acts, the unusual.
It's time for you to step up as ringmaster. Show them your smile. That would be unusual. Keep rehearsing. And make it very clear that I expect them to afford you all the deference you deserve. And that they should be nice to you anyway.
Barnum and James walk into the circus area, and some of the oddities stare at Barnum.
Ain't that a sight for sore eyes?
Barnum walks and leaves without acknowledging them.
He couldn't even say hello.
Or goodbye.
He is going on tour. Sorry, guys.
Pull yourself together, Bailey. Don't you have somewhere to be?
Oh yeah, my date with Hazel.
Hazel is at the theater ticket booth getting her ticket for the play.
Mr. Barnum said he left a ticket for me.
She is handed 2 tickets.
I'm sorry. I believe there is only supposed to be 1.
James appears and it shocks Hazel.
No, there's meant to be 2. Wasn't sure you'd come if I asked.
Hazel takes James' arm and is thrilled to go to the play.
I've always wanted to go to the theater.
I'm glad you have the opportunity.
At that moment, James looks up to see his parents. He is shocked to see them and lets go of Hazel's arm.
James, is that you?
Father, this is Hazel.
James, have you no shame to associate yourself with someone like her? Barnum business is one thing, but parading around with someone of such a class?
Hazel is ashamed. She looks at James and quickly walks away without looking back.
Hazel, Hazel, Hazel! How dare you speak to her like that?
You forgot your place, James.
My place? Father, if this is my place, then I don't want to be a part of it.
James turns away from his parents. He does not catch up with Hazel until he arrives back at Barnum Museum. Hazel is practicing her dancing on the circus stage.
Hazel, they are small-minded people. Why do you care what they say?
It's not just them. You have never had somebody look at you the way your parents looked at me. Imagine the way everyone would look at us.
You know I want you. It's not a secret I try to hide. I know you want me, so don't keep saying our hands are tied. You claim it's not in the cards, fate is pulling you miles away and out of reach from me. But you're here in my heart, so who can stop me if I decide that you're my destiny? What if we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine. Nothing could keep us apart. You'd be the one I was meant to find. It's up to you and it's up to me. No one can say what we get to be. So why don't we rewrite the stars? Maybe the world could be ours tonight.
You think it's easy. You think I don't want to run to you. But there are mountains. And there are doors that we can't walk through. I know you're wondering why. Because we're able to be just you and me within these walls. But when we go inside, you're gonna wake up and see that it was hopeless after all. No one can rewrite the stars. How can you say I'll be mine? Everything keeps us apart, and I'm not the one you're meant to find. It's not up to you, it's not up to me. When everyone tells us what we can be, how can we rewrite the stars? Say that the world can be ours tonight. All I want is to fly with you. All I want is to fall with you. So just give me all of you. It's not impossible. Say that it's possible. Say that it's possible. How do we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine. Nothing can keep us apart. 'Cause you are the one I was meant to find. It's up to you and it's up to me. No one can say what we get to be. Then why don't we rewrite the stars, changing the world to be ours? You know I want you. It's not a secret I try to hide, but I can't have you. We're bound to break and my hands are tied.
Barnum is packing his suitcase to leave on tour with Jenny Lind. Charity is questioning him.
You have a beautiful home, a beautiful family, and yet you still want more. Why do you need to tour the country? When will it ever be enough for you?
I am doing this for Caroline and Helen.
Look around you. They have everything.
Don't understand.
I do.
No, you don't understand. How could you? My father was treated like dirt. I was treated like dirt. My children will not be.
You don't need everyone to love you, Finn. Just a few good people.
I know that.
Barnum makes to leave, and his daughters come crying to him to not leave.
No, Daddy.
Daddy.
He turns to leave.
Daddy, no, wait. Daddy.
He walks off the stage with his suitcase. He waves goodbye. Charity is left on the porch with her daughters. She holds them for a moment and then walks off. She stands looking dejected.
Some people long for a life that is simple and plain, tied with a ribbon. Some people won't sail the sea 'cause they're safer on land, to follow what's written, but I'd follow you to the great unknown, off to a world we call our own. And in my hand, and we promise to never let go. We're walking a tightrope high in the sky. We can see the whole world down below. We're walking a tightrope, never sure, never know how far we could fall. But it's all an adventure that comes with the breathtaking view. Walking a tightrope with you. Ooh, 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 ooh. With you. Ooh, 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 with you. Mountains and valleys and all that will come in between. Desert and ocean, you pull me in, and together we're lost in a dream. Always in motion, so I risk it all just to be with you. And I risk it all for this life we choose. And in my hand, and you promise to never let go. We're walking a tightrope high in the sky. We can see the whole world down below. We're walking a tightrope, never sure. Will you catch me if I should fall? Well, it's all an adventure that comes with the breathtaking view. Walking a tightrope with you. Ooh, 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 ooh. With you. Ooh, 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 ooh. With you. With you. With you. Ooh, with you.
Barnum traveled with Jenny Lind on tour for several months. He missed many successful circus events, he missed Caroline's ballet performances, and he missed being with his family. He has made up his mind that he will not continue on tour with Jenny Lind. He has a suitcase in his hand.
You will need to finish your tour without me.
What? You're leaving?
The itinerary is well in hand. I really miss my family and the circus. I realized while touring that being with them is what makes me feel alive and loved. All of this touring with the upper crust is not what I truly want or need.
So that's it. I'm just another one of your acts.
Jenny.
I'm done as well. I quit.
Jenny, please, you have to finish the tour.
Oh, must I?
It will ruin me financially and my circus.
When you're careless with other people, Mr. Barnum, you bring ruin upon yourself.
I have risked everything.
Well, so have I. and it seems that we have both lost.
Barnum turns away and walks out. Meanwhile, the circus is just finishing, and James is smiling as he ends the show. He has many of the circus characters behind him.
Thank you very much for coming. Tell your neighbors you enjoyed the show. Tell everyone how much fun you had at the circus. New acts every night.
Some protesters come forward and start to yell at James.
Hey, ringmaster.
Gentlemen, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
This is our town, son.
We think you should leave, you and your freaks.
And your spooks.
Sir, I will ask only once more.
Then what, boy?
Attack!
The protesters and the circus folk begin to fight. People are pushing, shoving, hitting, and fighting. A protester throws a lantern and sets fire to the Barnum Museum. The fighting becomes more chaotic as the fire spreads. Barnum arrives home and is thrilled to see his family. Charity breaks the news to him about the fire.
Daddy, Daddy, Daddy.
Girls, you have grown so much.
What made you decide to come back early?
I missed you.
I missed you too, but unfortunately, I have terrible news for you, Phineas.
What's wrong?
Last night, after the circus was over, a group of protesters became violent with James and began to threaten him and the other circus members. A fight broke out between all of them, and then a protester set the circus on fire.
Barnum is shocked and can't speak. Then he thinks of the well-being of his people.
Did everyone get out safely?
Yes, everyone is out safe, but James is at the hospital. He ran into the burning building because he couldn't find Hazel. Hazel came running out alone. George ran into the building and pulled out James. Hazel was watching over him at the hospital.
This is horrible.
Several days later, Barnum is sitting alone at a bar with his head in his hands. He is so distraught to lose his circus. Mr. Bennett, the newspaper critic, sits down next to Barnum at the bar.
They caught the thugs who started the fire. I thought you'd like to know. It seems not everyone likes our show.
But putting folks of all kinds on stage, all colors, shapes, sizes, presenting them as equals, it should have been a celebration of humanity.
Well, I hope you'll rebuild.
Mr. Bennett leaves. Moments later, the circus group arrives.
Figured you'd end up here.
Feeling sorry for yourself?
Folks, if you have come to get paid, the money's gone. All of it. Nothing left to give.
Keep quiet, Barnum.
You just don't get it. Our own mothers were ashamed of us.
Hid us our whole lives.
And you pull us out of the shadows.
And now you're giving up on us too. Maybe you're a fraud. Maybe it was just about making a buck. But you gave us a real family and the circus.
That was our home.
We want our home back.
I apologize to everyone for making everything about me. I wanted money, respect, and fame. And I tried to get it by profiting off of others. Off of you. I see now that we can work together and that it will all be fine regardless of the trials. As long as we have love.
I saw the sun begin to dim and felt that winter wind blow cold. A man learns who is there for him when the glitter fades and the walls won't hold. 'Cause from that rubble, what remains can only be what's true. If all was lost, there's more I gained, 'cause it led me back to you. From now on, these eyes will not be blinded by lights. From now on, let's wait until tomorrow starts tonight. Tonight, let this promise in me start like an anthem in my heart. From now on, from now on. I drink champagne with kings and queens. The politicians praised my name. But those are someone else's dreams, the pitfalls of the man I became. For years and years, I chased their cheers, the crazy speed of always needing more. But when I stop and see you here, I remember who all this was for. From now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the lights. From now on, let's wait until tomorrow starts tonight. Starts tonight. Let this promise in me start like an anthem in my heart. From now on, from now on, from now on.
And we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again.
And we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. From now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the lights. From now on, let's wait until tomorrow starts tonight. It starts tonight. Let this promise in me start like an anthem in my heart. From now on, from now on,
We will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. We will come back home, and we will come back home, home again.
and we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. And we will come back home, and we will come back home, home again. From now on, from now on, home again. From now on, from now on, home again. From now on.
Barnum is standing in front of the burned-down Barnum Museum with Charity and his daughters. Hazel and James appear. James is very weak. Barnum gives him a hug.
James, it is so wonderful to see you. Are you okay now?
Yes, I am mending. And thank goodness for the profits I saved from the shows. I also have my own savings from my plays. We'll be fine. The show must go on.
James, I can't let you gamble it on me.
Sure you can. Don't turn sensible on us now. Partners, 50-50?
Partners. The only thing is, I don't know how we're going to afford a building.
Right?
We don't need a building.
Real estate in Manhattan is a terrible investment.
I can get land down by the docks for almost nothing. All we need is a tent.
A month later, the whole circus gathers under the new circus tent.
This is the most beautiful show. Each and every one of you is unique. Thank you.
Light it up, we won't come down, and the walls can't stop us now. We're watching it come true, it's taking over you. This is the greatest show. This is the greatest show. This is the greatest show. This is the greatest show.
Thank you for listening to A Million Dreams, a radio show. A Million Dreams has been a year's worth of work for the class of 2020. The idea to adapt The Greatest Showman developed in 7th grade. The script was created over the summer prior to 8th grade. We began singing and rehearsing on the second day of school. In January, we began to learn choreographed dances for the play. Our Million Dreams continued to blossom, and we had a beautiful set planned. Suddenly in March, just like everything else in society, our plans were halted by COVID-19, but our dreams were not thwarted. I conceived the idea to make our play into a radio show. This took many rehearsals on Zoom, and then finally we were able to record our work. It became more complicated to layer voices at a distance and sing with the piano music, but still we did it. It took a million dreams to put this together. As it is sung in The Greatest Show, you're seeing the impossible come true, and the walls can't stop us now. I am enormously proud of the class of 2020 and very grateful to Adam Peterson for helping put all of this together, as well as Matt Spalding. Thank you.